Hello everyone, welcome to Legacy Age Academy. In this video, we will be talking about how to prepare the optional, that is anthropology, for UPSC examinations. See, in this video, I will be tackling or I will be targeting for 2023 examination. Let's start. I hope by now most of the people who are watching this video are very much familiar with the anthropology as a subject, and you have made, I presume that you have made all the background research that is required in order to select an option. But here I'll just brief you about what are the pros and cons of anthropology. See, when we have decided anthropology as the optional, so I'll just tell you about what is the good things about anthropology and few bad things about anthropology also. Relatively requires less time, limited and easy sources, stability in the nature of questions. If you just look at the past year's questions, like out of the 80% of the questions every year will get repeated from the previous years. So the stability in the nature of questions, good mix of conceptual and the factual knowledge, overlap with the society of GS1 and polity in GS2. With society, this particular thing overlaps with in the paper 2 of anthropology, we have Indian specific tradition and village studies. There it overlaps with the society. And when we talk about polity, in the paper 2, when we talk about the developmental goals of the tribals, fifth schedule, sixth schedule, okay, there it is relevant with respect to polity. Some bad things about anthropology: high success rate. Okay, from the last 4 years, anthropology has been producing a lot of ranks. Biology content in the paper 1 of anthropology, we have something called as physical anthropology in the units 9, 10, 11, and 12. So that is complete biology, and few people who are not comfortable with the biology might find this particular subject or this particular topic difficult. A lot of diagrams to write. If you are not a person who is very much accustomed to it, then you will have to make sure that you become comfortable with the diagrams. Less room for innovation in the answers, because most of the topics in the anthropology are static. You will have less scope for the innovation. The success rate of the anthropology, you can see here the success rate. Every year, anthropology from 2018, if you consider, has been producing more than 9%. Okay, so around for 2022 and 23, if you consider, you can consider it to be around 12%, around 12%, okay, in the 2022 or 2023 for that matter. Discussing about the strategy, how do you go about anthropology as your option? If you have decided anthropology will be your optional, what to do and how to go about it? See, you have two papers, paper 1 and paper 2. Paper 1, before starting, I will make it more clear. Paper 1 will deal with the world anthropology, and paper 2 is India specific anthropology. So, paper 1 has all these components: archaeological anthropology, sociocultural anthropology, linguistic anthropology, and physical anthropology, which is also called as biological anthropology. Indian specific archaeological anthropology, village studies in anthropology, Indian tradition in anthropology, and tribal anthropology. So these are the important subheadings or the blocks according to the topics that we have in paper 1 and paper 2. Okay, general instructions before I deal with the specific topics or the specific blocks. First thing that you will have to keep in mind is that you should have your own handwritten notes. Do not depend on any topper's notes. Okay, do not depend on any note that is being printed by a third source. Make sure that you have your own copy of handwritten notes that you have done after going through multiple sources. Focus on building concepts and do not worry about the value additions when you're building concepts. See, you don't have to cram or you don't have to memorize things here. You will have to have conceptual idea about the topics mentioned in the syllabus. Be open to examples from the current affairs. One important mistake or one common mistake that aspirants do is to neglect the newspaper and or focus only on the editorial or the op-ed section and neglect the other news. See, if you're choosing an optional which is relevant for the current affairs or which will have a relevance in the current affairs, you should be open to the examples or the case studies from the newspaper. Practice diagrams and flowcharts beforehand. See, this is how you will have to have your note making process. So this is a chart when we talk about pedigree analysis in the unit 9 of anthropology. You will have to have such diagrams ready, okay, in your notes. Okay, only then you will not have to waste time in making these diagrams or thinking about these diagrams. For example, the flowcharts like this, you will have to have such flowcharts very handy. And when we talk about biological anthropology, these are some of the things that you should have: the box kind of structure and the representation, and also the table kind of format. You should be having all these in your notes. Starting with the archaeological anthropology. Okay, archaeological anthropology, the best source is the Indian Anthropology or the Physical Anthropology by Pinath. The updated edition has a bit of information about the archaeological anthropology. Okay, this is the first source. And the second important source will be the brain tree. Okay, by now you would have heard about brain tree. So brain tree is also an important source. The What you have to do is combine these two sources and have your one notes, handwritten notes. If you've joined any coaching classes, then you can use that handwritten notes. If not, combining these two sources, you should have in handwritten notes. And what are the value additions? See, for the archaeological anthropology, obviously the value additions will be the map that you will be writing, and also diagrams of skull that you will be writing, diagrams of the pentadactylity that you will be writing, diagram of vertebral column that you will be writing. So these skeletal structures will be the value addition for archaeological anthropology. And remember, archaeological anthropology and physical anthropology, that is unit 9 to 12, are the most scoring parts of anthropology. Sociocultural anthropology, the best book for the sociocultural anthropology you can go through is a sociocultural anthropology by a person called Nadeem Hussain. Nadeem Hussain. Okay, this is an important and a prominent book. And the second important source that you can go through is the Indian or the Sociocultural Anthropology by N.K. Vaid. Okay, these are the two important sources, and as usual, you will have to combine these two and make your own notes. Value additions. Here, the value additions would be examples. It would be the examples of the tribal communities, examples of the practices. Okay, in our latest video, we have talked about the practice of witchcraft in Kerala. Okay, which led to the death of a woman who was chopped into 56 pieces, and the human flesh was consumed. So this is called as witchcraft. So such important examples and the case studies will be the value additions in the sociocultural anthropology. Physical anthropology, one of the important and the only source that I would recommend for the physical anthropology is a book called The Physical Anthropology by Pinath. Okay, so this is the only book. Value additions, as usual, the diagram, for example, if the question is asked about DNA, you will be writing such double helix structure of DNA. So the value additions will be the diagrams. And the second one, the important value additions here, will be the latest developments in the matter or in the field of genetics. Okay, as we are dealing with the biological anthropology or the physical anthropology, the important advancements in the field of genetics, okay, that you will have to be open to. Village studies, this is the paper 2 that we're talking about. From here, the two important blocks, that is village studies and tribal development, we'll be talking about the paper 2. Sources here is the only one book which contains a comprehensive content for village studies, and also the Indian classical tradition is the Indian Anthropology by the same author called as Nadeem Hussain. Okay, this is the Indian Anthropology by Nadeem Hussain. Each and every topic mentioned in the syllabus, you will have a content in this book. Okay, so your motto is to go through this and have your own handwritten notes ready. Value additions again will be the examples and case studies. Okay, these examples and the case studies, examples you'll be getting it from the newspaper, case studies you will be drawing it from the journals, and also case studies you can draw it from the Ministry of Tribal's website and the tribal report that is being released. So from there, if you're following the current affairs regularly, you can get the case studies. Tribal anthropology, two important sources. The first book is the Tribal Anthropology by the same person called as Nadeem Hussain, Tribal Anthropology by Nadeem Hussain. And the second important source is the Zaza report. Zaza report. This committee was formed in order to give recommendation on the tribal development, and in the year 2014, this committee gave a recommendation, and the set of these recommendations are very important from the exam point of view. So for the tribal anthropology, first book would be Nadim Hussain, which will cover all your static parts, and second would be the Zaza report. Value additions again will be the examples and case studies from the current affairs. Okay, so this is about the different branches of anthropology. Now, coming to the important part, that is the importance of answer writing. See, till now we have discussed about how do you make notes and what are the sources to be considered when you're making notes. You might think making notes would be more or less sufficient and you don't have to practice answer writing, but that's wrong. That's very much wrong. All you have to do is, after doing your notes on specific topic per se, open the previous year's questions. Okay, go for the previous year's questions and jot down all the important questions asked by the UPSC on that particular topic, and make sure you start writing the answers and get it evaluated. See, writing the answers is not just important, getting it evaluated with the mentors is something that you will have to do without fail, and all these things should be done before your prelims. So keep that as a target. 3 months before prelims, you'll be stopping your prelims preparation. That is, from the month of March, you will not be taking up. By the end of February, your optional preparation should be over. So, if you plan that way, then you'll be in a very comfortable position to tackle the mains examination in 2023 after you clear prelims. So, if you have liked the video, please consider subscribing to it. For more such enriching content, follow Legacy AS Academy. Have a nice day. Thank you.